You are watching Midnight Movie Talk live from Los Angeles. I am Eric Weber here on this Sunday night. I am so super duper stoked tonight. And let me tell you why. I just walked out of The Lost Boys. And if I were to name, 10 films that shape me as a person, The Lost Boys is one of the films. And the chance that I just had to watch it again on the big screen, I haven't seen it since, God, 87. It just is electrifying. What a film. We need more films like The Lost Boys. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's get into our top story tonight. It is very simply this. Was Black Adam successful? We got a $67 million launch domestically, 73 overseas, all in 140, okay? This is a $200 million film in that rough range. So right now, you're already at 140 to 200. Now, remember that. You're 60 million off that after one weekend. Remember that there's obviously advertising, there's all kinds of promotion, there's all that stuff that adds to the budget. But right now at 140 million, I think it's a good opening. I mean, this is where I want to start tonight. What do you think about this? We knew that this film was not going to open at 100, 110, 90, 80. We said it was going to go 70. And we're right again. MMT coming in exactly where it should be. I said it should be about 70, and we're at 67. That's close enough. I have a feeling we're going to get closer to 70 tomorrow when we get the actual number for today, for Sunday, because as you know, the studios, they estimate what the film's going to do on Sunday. And I told you this film would do well with families. There has been a dearth of family films in the marketplace for many a moon. I mean, you're talking about really nothing until you go way back. Lyle Crocodile, I mean, here's some scraps, okay? But really, you have to go back to probably Thor Love and Thunder as far as, I mean, there's Minions in there too, obviously, but I'm just saying, more of like a kind of older kid family thing. And Black Adam was the right film for now. So you're going to say to me, well, how come it's not at 100, 110? They're introducing a character here, okay? So DC clearly wants to get Black Adam into the DCEU. That's the point of this film. They want to introduce The Rock in the character and then set him free. Let him join other adventures with other characters, right? And eventually get to another Justice League. And do it right this time, not have to recut it and have two different versions of the film. But that was the point of this. So even if we lose a little money here, which I don't think we're going to, because it's going to play well for the next several weeks, we don't have anything coming into the marketplace of significance until we get to Wakanda Forever, which is not until November 11th. By the way, guys, it's not like next week. It's not the weekend. It is literally 3 weeks away, 3+ weeks away, right? So we have a lot of time to get to that. Therefore, we have a nice long runway for Black Adam to continue to do business as the only major film in the marketplace that's not horror. We're going to talk about the other films that are kicking ass, and they're all horror related, right? Well, except for one. One is definitely not kicking ass because it's a piece of crap. That's why that one is not doing well. But let's get your comments right now on, was Black Adam successful? I say yes to this at 67 million. We had it at 70. This is close. This is right there. This is not 57. This is not 47. This is 67 million. We had it at 70. I told you that's the number, and guess what? We're there. So that's where I'm falling on this, really simply. Look who's up tonight. Edward Douglas, welcome to the show live on this Sunday night. You're up late again, sir. I wanted to invite you on. Now I can't. I at this point, I'm already rolling and rocking next week, though, for sure. For sure, my friend. Chris, good evening. Welcome to the show, by the way. Black Adam should have done better, but at least it wasn't Halloween Ends, that 80% drop. Isn't that the thing? So Halloween Ends, in case you guys didn't know, this thing got slaughtered. Second weekend, down 80%. I struggle to recall a film that has dropped that hard in its second weekend. Now, to be fair, and we have to be fair because that's what we do here at MMT. We do not just say this without presenting a few facts. Fact number one is this available on Peacock. And when you have something that's available at home on a streaming service that costs like $6 a month, people are going to just get the service for a month and watch Halloween Ends and then cancel it if that's what they want to do. It's that simple. It's a lot cheaper than going to the multiplex, unless you have AMC A-list. By the way, do that. But if you don't, then you just get Peacock. But the bigger reason the Peacock is proof of what I told you the night I came out of Halloween Ends and I just savaged the film. It's a piece of trash film. This is such a bad film. It's an affront to John Carpenter's legacy. It's also, I mean, Corey. I mean, if you're defending Corey, the use of that character still to this day, and you're telling me that's good, that was a good choice, I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously ever again in the realm of film evaluation, because the proof is right here. The film's dropping 80%. Again, it's on Peacock, but still, even Halloween Kills didn't drop like this. I think it dropped 70. So it's an extra 10 because the movie's a piece of shit. Come on, guys, be real. Do not defend this film. It makes you look stupid. When you defend Halloween Ends, when you say it's a good film, you are lessening your brand of respectability. It's that simple. I can't get into it again. Let's roll back into Was Black Adam Successful? Thank you for getting that out of the way right there. Great comment to open, by the way. Did you see Halloween Ends? Good. We're done with it. I don't want to even discuss it ever again. God, that movie's so terrible. AMC to the moon. I'm for that. I'm 100% with that because I love A-List. In fact, at some point, I'm going to reach out to AMC and say, listen, all I want to pimp you, and I'm already doing it for free, is give me the service for $25 a month. Just give it to me for free. And I will literally pimp AMC A-List every single show. I already do it. So it's like, they're like, why even bother? Let's just collect his $25. It's so good, that service. Unbelievable. Saw Black Adam with friends. We had a blast. Battle scenes were pinging the top of the meter in sound and visuals. Dr. Fate's sacrifice was beautiful. It hit me with emotion. Superhero movies, welcome to the show tonight. No question. I mean, listen, it's not a great film, but I think the moments that are good are strong. And The Rock, obviously, is a superhero. So you don't have to put him in a suit. That counts for something. I can't emphasize enough that your stature physically needs to be there if you're going to play a superhero. You got to be jacked. I mean, listen, you guys know I go to the gym. I work pretty hard, okay? The point of it is if I was in a movie, you don't think I would double my efforts? I mean, I would literally be like, what is the ideal we're looking for here? And I will get there. And I think when The Rock steps into Black Adam and you give him the suit, you don't need to give him any CGI muscles or foam shoulders like they had to do with Noah Centineo or whatever the hell you call that kid's name. I don't even know how to say the last name. I don't want to know because I still do not understand how that guy's in movies. But you have to give him foam shoulders because he doesn't have the stature. He's not a little guy, but he's not jacked. And you look at Ryan Reynolds at Deadpool. You've seen the pictures. The guy was ripped. Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, ripped. I mean, that's part and parcel with that job. When you are cast as a superhero, you better start hitting the gym, like right now. Michael Bay is notorious for that. Everyone who's in his movies, you have to be in the best shape of your life. Look at Ben Affleck, okay? You can say he looked good for Batman, and he looked pretty good, but he didn't look like he did in Armageddon. He was jacked, right? Also, The Town, he looked really good. But you look at what you're required to do in a role, and that's very important that you physically fit that bill. And The Rock does. So I think that's a major thing that we need to discuss. It's not something you just kind of say it's there. It's a crucial aspect of playing a superhero. You got to look like a superhero. You shouldn't have to take a stretch of imagination to go, oh, I guess that's Black Adam. You're like, no, that's The Rock. He's a badass. Britton, good evening to you. We missed you tonight, by the way, at Lost Boys. You should have joined us. Black Adam, enjoyed it. Really entertaining movie during the fall season. It's the perfect, listen, let's state this too. Perfect release date on this because we really had nothing in front of it because Halloween Ends is so horrible, but that helped. But you haven't had a film like this in the marketplace since we roll it back to, it was Thor Love and Thunder, right? I mean, really, you remember August had nothing, September had nothing, and then we finally get here towards the end of October with a major 4-quad tentpole blockbuster. And while it didn't perform at Wakanda Forever levels or even MCU levels, it still is a respectable 67 million, 73 overseas, 140 total. It's respectable. It just is. You can't say it's a bomb. You can say maybe it's not certainly at the Marvel level, but I think we need to openly admit that the MCU is greater than DCEU when it comes to box office. We all know that. No matter what it is, MCU is generally going to perform better than DCEU. That's what Zaslav is trying to get turned around by getting someone in there like a Kevin Feige to make it so that at least they're closer to being equal And I think that Black Adam and The Rock is a coup. I mean, to have him in your stable of superheroes to grow and give him a better film next time for sure. I mean, there's no question that I think Black Adam is passable. It's a mid plus film, but it's not great. I think if you give this to a really talented director and a better script, Black Adam 2 could be something special because of The Rock and because of you've already established him as the guy. Now you can do more with that actual franchise. And you also have him for whatever else you want to do. I mean, listen, you know what the end credit scene is. I'm not going to say what it is because if you still haven't seen it, I mean, at this point, it's like, are we kidding? Come on, you guys know what it is. But the fact that you have superhero on superhero action, and for once you actually again have the physical stature of one meeting the physical stature of the other, right? Because the other person is another person who got in shape to play a role, a superhero, right? So, man, I'm so good. I did not even reveal what it is, yet I just explained it. So when you have the two of them facing off, you're like, I believe it, I'm in, and that propels this forward. That is big. That end credit scene is so critical for the DCEU because everyone loves that. Even if you're low on Black Adam, that end credit scene's like, let's go. Let's do this. Speaking of that, I do want to mention we are going to talk about this here tonight. We have a really awesome show. So many things to talk about. Sunday night's my favorite show because we have so many things, so many topics. But you know, the video of the kid, I'm not going to say his name because I swear to God I cannot watch it. But him going, you know, I've got thoughts. Okay, I've got thoughts. I'm going to hold. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with that. But listen, we know that end credit scene worked. The first moment you see Dr. Fate in the car, you already know he was going to die. He lived a full life, accepted his end. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I'm sorry if we're doing a spoiler here, but it does work. Those of you who are hardcore MMT people, you've already seen the movie. You guys go see him on Thursday, right? You don't even wait till Friday. We're like Thursday night people. But Friday's like, oh, we already saw that. It's old. What do we got next? What's the new next big thing that we have coming? Aaliyah, 195, 200 opening weekend should exceed that for yeah. Listen, it's going to do fine. Is it going to make Warner Brothers $1 billion? No, but that's not the purpose necessarily here. Of course, you don't want to lose your ass, but you also want to establish a character and have him part of the DCEU going forward, and that has been settled. That is established. Therefore, now we can push forward, and I talked about that on whatever we did. Wednesday night was the last stream we did when I came out of Black Adam, and I told you that is a success for the film. They established Black Adam, and now we can move forward. Okay, the movie's okay. It's not great, but it's also not bad. I can see how some of you are a little higher on it, some a little lower. No one's going to be pinging the top. Oh, this is unbelievable. This is the best thing. Now, when I see Wakanda Forever, which, by the way, I'm scheduled to see this week, we will have a discussion, spoiler-free, and I have a feeling that we will be pinging the top of the meter over and over with that. Why? Because Ryan Coogler. Yes, we can talk about Marvel all day, all night, but it's Ryan Coogler who is the directorial talent. And when you get someone of that stature, of that talent, of that vision, you're going to get a film that delivers. When you watch Black Adam, you're watching a director who directed Jungle Cruise. It's okay, right? Jungle Cruise is passable, entertaining. And then you have the same situation here with Black Adam. I think we need to get a different director in there who has a little more vision, a little more edgy, and then we can get this thing to that next level. But it's a decent start. It's not the worst movie ever made, as we discussed the other night. Do you see Black Adam hitting 700 million plus? Listen, the thing that has going forward is it has the runway, because we don't have anything till we get to Black Panther. So it has time to have people go, well, there's nothing else out. Let's go check out Black Adam. So I think you're going to see the weekday holds be pretty solid because there's not a lot else to see, unless you want to see, if you haven't seen Smile, Terrifier 2, which we'll talk about in a minute. Certainly not Halloween Ends. You've got Ticket to Paradise, which did a pretty nice little number there at 16 million opening for an older leaning film, and really a thing that almost looks like a streaming movie these days, right? It looks like a Netflix thing. But smartly, Universal did not stick that on Peacock, and that's why it got 16 million. If you put that on Peacock, it's probably opening at like 5, 6, right? Because again, you're giving someone an option to watch at home for $6. Of course, they're going to take it. They're not going to run a family of 4 to go see Ticket to Paradise and pay $60 or whatever it costs for 4 plus popcorn, maybe 100 in a major city. So kudos to Universal for not putting that in on Peacock. That was very smart. My friends are open to another viewing second weekend this Saturday. This rarely happens. DC produced something strong with this one. Has its weaknesses. It's just so much fun. 2 hours of fun. I think it's very easily digested, right? There's nothing challenging in this film. I think what's interesting, and I mentioned this on Twitter, and I'm going to talk about it real quickly here. When you watch Black Adam and you see the beginning of that film, so when you're watching the first 5-ish, I didn't put it on a clock, but let's just call it 5 minutes. The opening sequence of Black Adam. You know what that is? That is textbook compression of story via test screening audience. So when test screening audiences get to see the film, they usually see a longer version of it. Obviously, the producers, director, studio, they're trying to figure out what's the best version they can release that's going to appeal to the biggest number of audience members. And when you watch Black Adam, it's just the beginning of that is like, let's just cram a whole shit ton of story into this 5-minute window. And you're just going, oh my God, this is like info dump central. And that's because that is from a test screening. I know it. I didn't see the test screening, but I know enough about test screenings to know that that front is a test screening result right in front of you. And that's why it's not that great. Listen, I've said it before, and here we go again. Studios, if you want to save money, here's how you do it. You get rid of the test screening audiences. Just blow them out. You don't need them. Invite me to see your film. I will sit down and I will go, here's what works. Here's what doesn't work. Here are my suggestions. Crush, crumple, do this. Move this here, rearrange, and then boom, here's your film. And you know what the number one note always is going to be for me every single time is going to be shorter, make the film shorter, tighter, make it sing. And I saw a movie last night we'll talk about here in a little bit called Causeway, which has Jennifer Lawrence. It's an A24/Apple film. The thing I love about Causeway is this director, Lila, who is, man, what a talent. She made a movie that was like 1:31, 1 hour and 30 minutes. I go, my God, how did you? And it's her first film. I went out of my way to talk to her last night and say, thank you, because we don't have enough directors who have that kind of just ability to watch their own film and say, let's make it shorter. There's too much in here. Let's be more disciplined with our runtime. We have too many directors that don't do that. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to go off on that. But I think that when you look at a film like Black Adam, there are things that I would absolutely suggest. And one of the first things I would do when I watched the first cut of Black Adam, or the cut I saw, and they say, here's your cut, Eric, I would say, you need to get rid of that Lorne Balfe score. It is not good. I said it on Wednesday. I am a score guy, and I'm telling you, Lorne Balfe delivers generic scores. He did in the Tomorrow War, again, another generic as hell score. Get it out of here. Give me Nicholas Britell. Get me anybody but Lorne Balfe. He's not good. He's just not. Don't tell me it was a good score. It's not. First thing, you're out of here. And that's the beauty of it, is when I come in to do this, I would say it how I'm talking to you, because you have to do that. These studios need to go back to the old way of doing things, which is my way or the highway. Your movie needs to come in at 1:45, not a second longer. If it's 1:46, I'm cutting a minute out myself. I'm going to go in there and find something and just get rid of it. All right, let's go to the next topic, and we'll get into more comments here. Here it is. We talked about Halloween Ends. Now we're going to go to Terrifier 2. Now, I know a lot of you are really high on this film, and you know how I feel about this, okay? The film is, listen, it is excessive on the violence. Like, okay, yes, it's NC-17, but it's also like even beyond that. I think it loses its humanity. Now, I love Art the Clown. I think that the idea is fantastic. To me, my personal feeling is it's over the line when it comes to violence. That's mine. But if you don't feel that way, that's your thing, okay? But one thing that we have to agree on, and it is the truth, this film is a sensation. I mean, this is a $250,000 film that has now made over $5 million in the United States on limited showtimes. This isn't like running all day, all night at AMC Regal. They actually went back in and added showtimes this weekend because they had such demand last weekend when they were showing it like once a day. They were like selling out or getting close to it. They go, well, hell, let's put it on more showtimes. And look what it did. It's now up to over $5 million. Here's what I want to see from Terrifier 3. And I know it's never going to happen because I understand it's the creation of the director. But I would, if I were a studio, I would actually do this. If I were Universal, I would go in and I would offer the director, and I don't have it in front of me, his name, and forgive me for that. I could pull it up, but I mean, what's the point? The director who has created a hell of a character. And I'd say, listen, I'm going to offer you, honest to God, 10 million. Here's 10 million. We're going to take Art the Clown, and I am going to repackage Art inside of a more grounded, less violent, still violent, but dial the violence down, get it to an R, and then give it to somebody that is more of an artistic director rather than a splatterfest thing. And I know that's part of the appeal, but I think if you really think about Art the Clown and Terrifier 2, the thing that is the best about that is Art the Clown. The character is creepy AF. I mean, legit one of the best horror characters that I've ever seen. And I just wish I could see him within the world of someone with a different, slightly less splattery direction. And also a little bit more refined on the direction for sure. I mean, the direction on this is just like cut paste, right? It's very unartistic. And I know you're going to say that's the point, but I'm just telling you that that's what I see for Art the Clown. I would go pay to have the character, I'd secure the character, and I would launch it in a little different fashion. And I would just actually create an origin story with it. There's money right there. The way that horror films are look at Smile. The way horror films are producing at the box office right now, they're performing at an incredible level. You're talking about a film in Smile that's like $17-18 million film, and it's now up to 140 plus million worldwide. So hell yeah, you go give the director, writer of Terrifier 2 $10 million for Art the Clown. Because once you secure the character, you can turn that into a serious moneymaker for your studio. Because the reality is, the director of and writer and creator of Terrifier is never going to be able to work within the constraints of a studio system. So you have a character here that you can make work. And I know you guys are all screaming. I can't wait. Let's get to the comment. You're going to all scream like, what are you talking about? That's the point. The whole point of the Terrifier is that Art is totally slaughtering people. The whole alley sequence was wow. Yeah, right. It's insane. Oren, listen, I'm not suggesting that it's not. What's the word I'm really searching for here? I'm not going to say interesting. That's not good enough. It's just you listen. The humanity is right when we have a character being tortured, right, to the level that Art the Clown is doing in Terrifier. It almost makes you feel kind of gross in a way, and that's where I didn't like the film. So I want to see, and I understand horror, and I get violence, but there's still a limit. Okay, so I just want to dial it back, and I want to ground it. I didn't like the Ghost Girl. The Ghost Girl's not good. Okay, the Ghost Girl's not. That does not work in the film. But let's put this up. It doesn't work. So I would just say we got to work. We have a great idea with Art the Clown and Terrifier, but it needs to be refined. But it's a huge sensation. The movie was just horror. I understand. Yeah, I know. I get it. The best horror is something like Saw. I mean, again, I'm not a huge torture porn guy, like at all. So Art the Clown is absolutely, and Terrifier is 100% torture porn, right? I mean, it's an X-rated movie. Saw was never even X, even though it was violent. So I think that, yeah, listen, Terrifier 2 is for a very specific audience. Okay, very specific. Okay, let's get to real quickly on Smile. I brought it up. Let's do it. Again, 140 million worldwide. And I think the key point on Smile is at this point is that Paramount was going to dump this on Paramount Plus. And then they had test screenings, and people said, this is good. Let's release it. Again, I don't even need a test screening. I would have watched Smile and say, here you go, Eric, watch this. I'd be like, you're going to go theatrical on that. It's going to be big. In fact, I called it on my tweet. I'm going to pull it up. My tweet, when I came out of the theater, what I literally said, hold on, let's do this live. I mean, if I'm going to show you something, like, what's the point? Here we go. Let's pop it up. Okay, so when I came out of Smile, I said, listen, this movie kicks ass. Okay, hold on. Smile. Let me search me. This is live Twitter, everybody. Okay, hold on. I got to see if I can find it. Did I call it Smile movie? Sometimes I use different hashtags. Give me a second. Hold on. We got it. So this is my initial reaction for Smile, and it was dead on. It was dead on again. Here it is. Okay, here it is. Imagine an A24 horror film, but far more mainstream accessible, which it is, yet keeping the cinephilic aspects intact, and you get Smile Movie, a legit, eerie, creepy, scary creation that announces the arrival of a towering talent in Parker Finn. Paramount's Fire 2022 continues. Gonna be right there. Help me out here. What's that say? Gonna be big. I gave it a 9.5. Big, big. This is what I do. I watch films and I say, this is gonna be big. And I called it. It's at 140 million worldwide. This is something that I want to get paid for, because not everybody sees it like this. They go, oh, like I'm not going to tell you who. There's somebody that I'm a really good friend with that when they came out of Smile, like, it's not good. The girl's not good. And I go, you're wrong. I go, let me tell you something. You are wrong, and I'm going to be proven right again. And guess what? I was. Okay. Here's a good topic. Well, let's get into it here in a moment. This is going to be our in-depth topic of the night. This is going to be a good one, so get ready. Why is film Twitter so angry? This is a tweet that I saw today that I really liked from one of my good friends, Scott Menzel. Okay, let me pull it up. I don't have it bookmarked, which is my bad, but I don't think it's going to be very hard to find. So I'm going to read it to you, and then we are going to discuss it at length here with you guys. And I think it's not just film Twitter, it's society, it's all kinds of things. This is a big picture thing that I like to do more than anything here on MMT. You're not going to get this anywhere else, because most people who do this want to just like I'm not going to say his name, the kid who just goes, oh my God, did you see that? Look at that character. Oh my God, it's so amazing. That's not what we do. We don't do that. We drill down on bigger things. And this is what I want to talk about tonight. This is from Scott today. I read it and I go, okay, yeah, that's good. I think a lot of what happens on film Twitter is quite silly and hyperbolic. I also have to come to realize that a lot of bashing that occurs stems from a place of jealousy with the hope of getting attention by dragging others. It's all pretty damn sad when you think about it. And I believe I commented here. Hold on, he's got more. Let's get to the next one. I see a lot of people dragging an individual on the site who has always been a shill. There's been so much hate for this person, yet so many people continue to elevate this person over and over again by retweeting their content and bashing them. Honestly, don't know which is worse. Okay. And then Alex, who is I can't wait to meet Alex in person. We talk on Twitter. We DM all the time. It really is a toxic place full of toxic people who all love to believe the BS, that they aren't toxic, not an easy mess to clean up. Much respect to you, Scott. I think the word you're looking for is pathetic when you say there. Yeah, all this is 100% true. And let's just go back to the original. Here's the reality of it. So, as you guys know, I mean, listen, I sent out a tweet last week saying that if Everything, Everywhere, All at Once wins Best Picture, the Academy needs to be disbanded and we need to start over. Okay, because you know how I feel about the film. I mean, but here's the reality of that. Okay, let's just stop for a moment. First of all, that's an opinion. Second of all, is it strong? Sure. Is it a little out there, like a little excessive? Sure. But it's an opinion about a movie. Okay? So here's the problem. I have no problem, to come in and say, hey, I disagree. Everything Everywhere is a good film. What film did you watch? Even at that level. But that's not what happens now. We get people who decide that they want to come on and do what Scott's talking about. Let's go ahead and quote tweet it and say, oh, look at this person. They're so stupid. They don't know what they're doing. Look at them. They look dumb. They're just bad. And it's like, why don't you try arguing facts? Why don't you try being somewhat respectful? I don't ever come after somebody personally to attack them I talk about movies. And if I say something about a director, it's not that they're a bad person. They just made a terrible movie. So the point is that's not how it handled on Twitter. And that's what Scott's bringing up here. It comes down to people going, oh, and it turns nasty. Like, a picture of you next to someone that like a hideous thing or something. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Be better. And then you start to wallow in it. You get into it. And I go, I'm not going to do that. So now what I do when I have a take, and by the way, I'm not running away. I am not running away from Everything Everywhere All at Once not being a best picture. I will never flee that position because I'm right. It is not a good film. The first 145 of that film is solid. The back 30 plus makes you want to strangle the film. You want to literally go in and just grab the film out of the projector. I know there's no film there anymore, but if there were, grab it and start yanking I want to. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once because it's a maddening repetition of things at the end where it's like, yeah, the first time, maybe the second time, third, but the 20th time? So I'm not running away from that position. So now I just mute the conversation because I'm going to delete that. Like I care. Like I give a crap. The point is that have some decorum. Even if I have a take that you don't like, have decorum. And that's exactly what Scott is talking about here. And the kid that he's talking about, by the way, I talked to Scott, and I don't care if I don't think Scott's gonna be angry when I tell you this. Scott wrote this in direct result of when he saw what was happening to, I'm going to say the kid's name. I'm not a fan, but I also Soups. I'm not okay. Listen, I don't watch the kid. I know who he is, but again, I can say I didn't like it or whatever. I can say he's unwatchable. I know that's probably like people say that about me, so that's fine. I get it. But like I had people to say I want to have like violence. I'm like, what violence? Like, who are you? Who the hell are you, man? Get yourself adjusted. Because I say this all the time on MMT, and here it is. Go live a life outside of film. That's what allows me to be, I think, better at evaluating film, is that I have a lot of things in my life that I do, and I don't just watch films. So, like today, I was playing volleyball all day. You guys know, I play beach volleyball. I played a reasonably high level. And the point of it is that that's one thing I do. Then we come on here at night and do this. And then I see a movie. And then I go do this. You got to have a balanced life. And I feel like there's a lot of people on film Twitter who don't. All they do is just like literally hang out on Twitter. First of all, I'm happiest. I don't know about you guys. I'm happiest when I'm not on Twitter. Right? I mean, it's like, I don't even want to be like, you go back on, you're like, why am I doing this? Solomon, welcome to the channel, by the way. Let's get to it. This is a great topic tonight. I think I laid it out. Let's get your thoughts on it. Film Twitter Society angry because they want films to reflect on modern views of today, and are a bunch of losers that hate people being happy, don't agree with them, and want them to be miserable. I think there's an absolute shred, if not more, of truth in what you just said. There's a lot of people on the other side of the screen that are unhappy with who they are as a person. And I hate to break it to you, I'm not that person. So for me, it's very hard to access that because I've told you my journey. 5+ years ago, I was at a place in my life where you wouldn't recognize me. I was super depressed. I was like a mess. And I cleaned myself and got myself and pulled myself up and said, let's go get this shit now. And I turned it all around. So instead of wallowing in misery and unhappiness, make decisions that better yourself. Instead of bringing others down, then why don't you try to bring yourself up, right? So don't focus so much on others. Worry about your thing. When I started this channel 6 months ago, I didn't have any grand, idea or grand plan of being the next Grace Randolph. Okay, I'd never say that again. Please do not ever make me say it. But I just said, let's just get on and talk. Let's just get on and shoot the shit. Let's talk about things like this. And this is what interests me. But I also wasn't thinking like I'm going to take these people down. I'm like, I'm going to do my own thing. And I think if we have more people doing that instead of worrying about what others do, and if someone's going to bash a movie, then so be it, man. It's a movie. Why are you freaking out about it so much? Okay, you're wrong, but why are you freaking out like, oh, this guy makes me want to be violent? Like, what? It's a movie, dude or gal. What are you doing, man? Get out and do something with your life. Don't just watch something behind a screen. Get out. Make friends. Be social. That's what I do. Yeah. Uh, this is what I want to talk about. This is so much more interesting, isn't it? This is what I love about film. And Gore has told me this, and I agree with him. Chris Gore said this many, many years ago when I first met him. Like, film's a great way to open up conversations to other things. And that's what we're doing right now. We can still talk about film. We'll do that. But I want to talk about this. That this is what Scott talked about here. That there's a lot of people who enjoy dragging others, and then they also get like they create their attention by doing that. Imagine okay, listen, let's just go full on and forget it. Imagine being the kind of person who needs to trash other people to elevate yourself or to get attention for yourself, right? I don't know about you. The way I've decided to get attention, if I want to even, I don't even buy, you just do it. You do something. You do it. You don't go, oh, that person over there is dumb. No, you do your thing and then you get attention for it. And if you don't, then keep doing something till you do. Don't like look and go, oh, I'm going to elevate myself by dragging someone else down into the mud. It's a mindset, man. Guys, it's a mindset. And it's something that I've developed over the years where I try to focus on. If anything, I'll tell you this. If I see someone who is successful at something or good at something or whatever it is, something that I like about someone else, and of course we all, you watch someone or you see someone and you see, like, let's say fashion. I've stolen fashion ideas. Like, I look at someone and I go, oh, I like that coat. So I get a coat like that. Okay. Not like you're trying to copy that person, but you look at you, that looks good. So look at like that, like, oh, I like that person. And you know what I like about that person? That they are this. So I'm going to try to incorporate that into my life so that you're actually taking good pieces of things and building yourself up, and then you can become a better person. And I feel like we're like doing a psych show, but it's true, right? If you are trying to better yourself constantly, then you are going to be a much better place than if you're trying to trash people all the time and bring others down. The main problem to address with those people have big followings. They're enabling that behavior, such as recording yourself during a movie. I'm Nick. I'm not. Trust me when I say this. I am not defending what this kid did. In fact, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to call him dumb. I'm not going to call him unwatchable. I don't ever want to watch him because honestly, I feel like I'm getting dumber. And I know that sounds mean, but I'm just being honest with you guys, and that's fine. But fine, maybe it was mean, but the point is that I'm not spending all day on here. Like, it's not like the channel's purpose, Midnight Movie Talk, was set up so we can get on and hammer the Soups kid. Like, what? No, it's just part of the flow. And I would never watch that. Just like I'd never watch trailer reaction. I watch these things have like hundreds of thousands of views of a trailer thing, and I'm like, I could do that, but I don't want to. It feels so forced. It feels so just unnatural that what I do here is not that, right? This is free flow shit, what we're doing here. Like, I have some ideas of what we're going to talk about, but then you guys take it and go somewhere else. That's the point of the show. That's what we do. It's very different from what the other people do that script things out. I've made fun of Grace Randolph. I'll do it again very quickly. She's always looking off the screen because she's reading from a teleprompter. She's like, Black Adam has a lot of good things in it. And I think that the best part is Dwayne Johnson. He looks good. And I'll tell you, the movie flowed well. And, which is better, that or going, hey, man, I just came out of Black Adam. Oh, let me say. There's some really great things about it, especially when you look at Dwayne Johnson physically. Right. First of all, one is real because I'm just making shit up and I'm speaking from like the heart, and the other one is like reading shit. And I think that's not what I ever want to do. That's why it's only live streams here. I don't even I could cut things out, but it's always live. It's never retakes. Okay, so that's the point of the show. Exactly. You do you. I mean, ultimately, that's the thing. Is the closer you get to that, like, you do you, and worry about. Listen, we can say whatever we want to about the Soups kid or Grace Randolph, that you don't watch them or they're they're unwatchable. Whatever you agree, whatever you believe. They have big followings. They have bigger followings than MMT. But I told you guys, this is the truth. I don't care. I know you guys. I legitimately do not care. I want to created this for a reason, to do this. That's it. It's not for millions of views or whatever it is. It's like, I don't care. We started this channel. We had like 3 people, and it was cool. And I still have the people, most of them here. I think all 3 are here somewhere. It was like, I was fine with that. This is the joke. And I say this, and this is true in a way. We do the Riddler's show, right? From the Batman. This is the Riddler's show. Whatever the name. Someone tell me what the name of the Riddler show is in the Batman. You know, when he uncovers it, he's got the live stream and all that. Listen, I'm not suggesting you guys are like killers. They're going to don, hoods and whatnot and go out and kill people in Gotham. But I'm just saying I'm cool with that. I think it's awesome. That's the thing about MMT. I don't want to be like the big Grace Randolph thing. I mean, if more people like it, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying that's not the point. Most people don't have real life experience and struggles. I almost died last year twice. People's respect for Ken. I know you went through that, right? So that's going to change you. And I think that's true. A lot of people don't have a lot to draw on from life experience because maybe they haven't been in situations that tested them. I go back to what I said 5 years ago, 6 years ago. After Ken, by the way, for you, I was in Boston. For you guys don't know, let's try to condense this and let's do the Black Adam version of my life. The Black Adam 5-minute version. The first 5 minutes that's just compressed. I used to be a TV news anchor, okay? I never had a goatee. I was in a suit and I would do Good Day LA shit. Only not in LA. It was in Charlotte, in Boston, in Orlando. So I do live TV, but it was with a teleprompter and I was known for going completely off the rails. Where, in other words, if I read a story, let's say, especially because you know how I kind of feel about COVID at this point. If I was doing a story on COVID at a local news station now, and this is why I can't do it anymore, I would start reading the story going, in the news today, 300 people have tested positive for COVID. And I'd be like, and I would, anyone who worked with me knows this is about me. I would literally stop and I would look off to the side and I'd say, are we really still doing these COVID number count things? Are we doing this as a story? Okay, we are. Okay. So there's 3. And instantly, if you're at home, you're like, holy shit, that guy's out of control. He's a total wild card. He's like a loose cannon. We cannot have him on television. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing here. So this is what I do. So I did that in the past. And then I went through some shit that brought me to the lowest level. And then I had 2 choices. One, lights out, over. No joke. Or build, grow, get stronger. And I chose that path and it's taken me some time and I'm back and I feel like I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. But I had to go through that to know the value of today and the value of going out and living life every day and meeting people and saying yes more than no. There's many times that I just want to hang out at home and just chill. And I say, you know what? There's an event tonight. Let's go. Causeway yesterday. I was like, I don't know if I want to go. And I said, you know what? Let's go. Something cool could happen. And guess what did happen? I watched Causeway, which I think is a very solid film. I don't think it's a great film, but what I did get out of that experience is that we have a new directorial mind. And I call it, because listen, this woman's mind was one of the most interesting and engrossing things I've to listen to her talk about this Causeway film yesterday in the Q&A afterwards. I go, this is a remarkable mind. And I'm telling you now, I think it's Lila Neumbarger. I have not correctly pronounced her last name. She's the director of Causeway. When I sat there, I go, wow, this is somebody who is going to be big one day because the way they think. And if I didn't go, I would never have had that experience. And then the best part about it was when you go to these Q&As, often you have an opportunity to talk to the director afterwards. The producer and the director were upstairs at the open bar afterwards. I had a chance to talk to both. And I said, first of all, love the runtime. Thank you for making this film 90. And also, one thing that I love about Causeway that you'll never know unless you sit through a Q&A with Lila and the team, apparently in the film, they shot a whole sequence of stuff that they didn't use at all. And what I wanted to make sure that I said to her was that showed remarkable discipline to be able to shoot something and to say, this isn't in the best service of the movie, therefore we're going to leave it on the floor. It's on the editing floor. It's never going to be in the movie. We have too many directors now that are probably, listen, the reality is we spent this much money on this scene. We have to put it in, or, let's at least keep some of it. She said, no, let's get rid of it. And that showed me that she's going to be a director of great importance in the future because she already gets something that a lot of directors don't get, that less is more. She understood that, which is, you can't teach that. So yeah, Ken, I mean, listen, it really is about living life experiences. If I didn't live the life I had, I couldn't even do what I'm doing now. Just it wouldn't happen. Solomon again, welcome back. You're right, but I used to be negative. Realized life's too short for that crap. Improve on myself. Want to help to get people get inspired and how films inspire me. Films do inspire, don't they? I mean, I just came out of Lost Boys, and you know what I'm inspired to do right now after watching Lost Boys? Grow a mullet. Okay, I'm growing a mullet. I'm telling you guys now, it's going to be really weird here on the channel for a while because my hair is going to be in a strange middle space where you don't really look that good, Eric. You need to do something with your hair. But you got to understand, like the growth we're talking about here tonight as a person, your hair is going to go through stages that are awkward. But on the other side of it, you're going to come out as this shining butterfly with a mullet. And that's my hope, that I can have that for you over the course of the next several months. So please do not come onto the comments and say your hair looks terrible. I'm growing a mullet and I have a little bit of hair in the back. We're going to grow it out. It's going to be longer here, so it's behind the ears. I might even decide to pull it all the way back like Adam Driver before he cut it off for the Ferrari movie. I might do that. But I need you to please have patience through my awkward stages that are inevitable here over the next several weeks and months. So please do not bring that into the MMT talk ever, that my hair looks weird. If you do, you will be banned and you'll be put in timeout, and I don't know if I'll ever bring you back on. Let me ask you, did the Riddler, he killed first a pedophile? Okay, hold on. Let me ask you, did the Riddler be right? Was the man he killed first a pedophile to the kid in Batman Lost? I'm not sure I quite understand that question, Omega Swiper. Honestly, God, let me tell you, I've only seen the Batman 2 times, and I can't even answer that. Someone help him. Someone get in and tell Omega Wiper if that's why the joke. Maybe that's why that. And listen, I know one thing I know, and if, for those of you who do not know the story, I went to a screening a few weeks ago. I have to say this again because it was like one of those moments I talk about. Like, okay, this actually fits in perfectly. Remember, I told you I was like at rock bottom. I said I'm going to build myself up. So imagine yourself 5-ish years on from where I was at rock bottom to walking into a screening, sitting down, hanging out in literally my tights, and of course, what else? A football kit, soccer jersey. And here comes gentleman, walks in front of me and stops. He's got a mask on. Stops and turns and goes, "Hey, you're Eric Weber." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I read your stuff on Twitter." I go, "Oh, is that good?" And I had no idea who it was. Had a mask on. And he said, reached his hands out. And he goes, "Matt Reeves." I go, "Oh, no. Wow." I mean, like, wow. Like, not only Matt Reeves, who I absolutely adore, going back to Let Me In and Cloverfield, but Let Me In. In fact, that's what I told him the next thing. I said, Let Me In is like one of my favorite movies ever. I said, imagine being at a state where you now are recognized by a director who is of major significance in Hollywood, and not just like I follow you, knew my name. So let me tie this all together. 5 years ago, Eric, down. This is not going to work. I don't know if this is going to. I don't know what I want to do. It's not work. To 5 years later, hey, I'm Matt Reeves. This is the power of positive thinking. This is the power of going out and getting it. This is the power of just saying yes more than no, because you never know where the yes is going to lead. You know where the no is going to lead. The no is going to lead you nowhere. The yes, maybe it happens. Maybe something. What if I didn't go to see that screening? The movie wasn't even that good. It was Armageddon time. It's very flat. Not a fan. But Matt Reeves. So, for a moment, I just almost like cloud nine. I'm like, my God, Matt Reeves like knows my name. So that was cool. But so in service of what we're doing here tonight, that's why that works, because it was one of those moments where I go, okay, I've kind of made it. Do I ever really believe that? No, I don't know. But I mean, think how you'd feel at that moment. You'd be like, what? Oh, man, wow. Smile out of 10 was a 9.5 for me. It's way up there in what it is. I mean, I might have been a little high on it that night because I was so stoked on the direction. I think Parker Finn's a talent like you wouldn't even believe. So when I look at that film, I'm really drawn to the talent of Parker Finn and also to Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick's daughter, whatever. I forget her name. It's Bacon. She's really good. And the movie's creepy. The score's good, really strong. And the title sequence is like lights out. There's so many things I love about Smile. So when I get those pinging the top, we talk about that all the time. So I think Britton just mentioned that. I talk about pinging the top, right? So when a movie's pinging, bang, 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 it's banging off the top of the best that you could imagine for that scene, which Black Adam does in the end credit scene, but really not really anywhere else. A little bit, but not really. So when you're pinging, then you're like, this is unbelievable. So Smile has moments for me that are pinging. The choices by Parker Finn, the fact that there's no joke, it is a very dour, hereditary type horror film. I think it definitely draws on Ari Aster, and it certainly draws on It Follows. I mean, it's not original per se, but what Parker Finn does with it is super cool. So 9.5 for me, by the way. Happy Diwali. I don't know what that is. Our call is this? These are my RRR friends. Listen, I can't wait to see what happens with RRR. By the way, do I, Sonic? Do I sound like Army Hammer? Listen, I'm gonna say Army Hammer. We know is going through whatever the hell he's going through with the cannibal. Is he whatever? That whole thing was weird, but he has a great voice. So if I think I have a voice like Army Hammer, I'm doing okay. Right? That's it. I actually should stop the show between Matt Reeves and Army Hammer voice. I'm good. Now again, the hair is going to be weird. So you're going to have to understand, again, I can't emphasize enough to please have patience because that's not going to be good. So there's going to be things that are really good here on MMT, like the Army Hammer voice, but there's going to be things that are bad, such as the hair. And you're just going to have to say, it's a growth phase. It's a growth phase. You are on the path. Thank you, Omega. Oh, on the right path for that. No, for Joker. Probably. Even my majors, film and television, don't mean to have no life outside my major. Movies, we don't give a F. Okay, yeah. I mean, listen, if your major is film and television, then absolutely are. And, that's your life. But still, get out, right? If you're in school, go to a bar. Go to movies, do things, talk to people. Just be as social as you can. I mean, that's what the point of this is, right? It's a conversation. If some of you don't have someone to talk to, honest to God, that's what I'm here for. In a weird way, it's almost like a therapy session for all of us. So I think that's great. So get out there, live life, man. That's the takeaway here. Go out there and do something so that one day you can meet Matt Reeves and he goes, I know who you are. Now, okay, I'm not going to mention that all the time. Then it starts to sound like I'm boasting, but in a weird way, I feel like there's not a problem saying that. It's true. Why? First of all, you guys should know me by now. I don't lie. Like I can't. It's not who I am. It's fundamentally against who I am as a person. So if I tell you something, it's very much a believed thing. It's very much what I absolutely hold true to my essence. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to say, oh, Matt Reeves said, hey, I know you, Eric Weber. That's weird. Like, that's really weird. In fact, if you're that kind of person, you're probably a psychopath because you're just like making shit up at that point. But it's like, I'm just relaying stories that happen. Things happen and you just go, oh, that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with saying it. It's like, yes, the red web slinger, I will grow the mullet. It's going to happen. The hair's already, I got to be honest, I didn't shave it like I was thinking I might shave the sides. When I watched Lost Boys tonight, I was really drawn to Kiefer Sutherland's hair. So for me, I might even consider dyeing it blonde, which is going to be really weird. I'm not going to lie to you that if you come on here and you see me with like a Kiefer Sutherland Lost Boys haircut and blonde hair, you're going to say, I don't know about this guy. He's kind of losing it. But I want you to understand what the process is here. I want to become Kiefer Sutherland in Lost Boys. I did. Because when I watched the movie, I was brought back to the kid me who was blown away by the Lost Boys. I mean, just like to the point where I was like, I want to be a vampire, like cool like them, like Jason Patrick, like half vampire and then redeemed and not a vampire. That movie's so great. And another thing that's great about the Lost Boys, it's 1 hour and 37 minutes with the credits. Thank you, Warner Brothers, Old School Studios, saying, hey, guess what? Our movie's going to be short. Don't care who you are. Don't care who's in it. We're making it 137 so we can get more showtimes. Because back then, remember, there weren't as many screens, so you only had so many showtimes. It's another reason why you wanted your movie shorter. Now you got 78 screens at places, so you can have it running every 5 minutes. That's not good for runtime. And I think we gotten away from that. It's too much. Mullet and the saxophone. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching Lost Boys and I'm going, where is it? Where I still believe wins it, and then there it is, right in Santa Carla. They on the boardwalk. There is the oiled up singer of I Still Believe with the sax guy. There's two guys, the lead singer and then the sax guy. They're both jacked, oiled up. That scene is amazing. And that soundtrack, tracks 1 through 9. I have the CD. I played that bitch back for like every which way. And CD, of course, I didn't have the cassette, so I could actually skip to tracks. But that's a soundtrack you can listen to 1 through 9, and there are 9 tracks. I don't even need to look at that. There are 9 tracks on that. And when you listen to them, from People Are Strange, Echo and the Bunnymen, to Good Times, NXS and Jimmy Barnes, to Lou Gramm and Lost Boys, Lost in the Shadows. Ugh, God, what a CD. What a soundtrack. Why don't we have films like Lost Boys anymore where the songs are integral with the film? Like the songs are written for the film, or they're like lesser known songs that we plug in and you have a whole soundtrack. The last film I can recall like that, and there's probably some others, of course, Baby Driver, but Drive did that very well. I mean, the Drive soundtrack, between the songs chosen by Refn and the score by Martinez, you're talking about one of the greatest uses of music and score ever in the history of cinema. Drive. And when you go back to the 80s, you had all kinds of films like that. Lost Boys, any John Hughes film, they all had great soundtracks. Married to the Mob, a forgettable film, had an incredible soundtrack. New Order and all kinds of things. Why don't we have that anymore? I would love to see a film that actually gets an artist and has them do all the songs for the film, right? And just has different moods, and then the director figures out how to put them into the movie. Tell them what the movie's about, and say like the Midnight. By the way, I'm not a Midnight bandwagon guy. The Midnight is a synthwave band I'm sure you've all heard of by now. I was on the Midnight when they had like 2,000 followers on Twitter, because I listened to that and I go, oh my God, this is 80s synthwave sax songs. I love the Midnight. And I had a chance to go. A Twitter follower of mine that is awesome invited me to go to a Midnight concert last year, and I was sitting there going, "Oh, I love all these songs. I've been there since the very beginning of this journey." And now they're this big thing. Chris Evans is giving them a shout out. I know Ryan Gosling's a fan of synthwave, but we need more directors that do things like hire the Midnight to make an entire soundtrack, and then we would have the film work with the songs. Whatever. I mean, I trust them to do that. Why don't we do that anymore? Why don't we do that? Lost Boys does have it's amazing. It's just one of the best. Some hairstyles that don't work for people, but hey, maybe more. Don't get me on. Listen, don't get me negative on the mullet. I'm gonna do a mullet, and you're not gonna stop me, Gone Girl. None of you are gonna stop me. It's gonna be weird, because the worst is my hair on the sides tends to curl, so it's gonna be really weird. But I need to grow it out so I can get it behind the ears. So that's gonna be. Man, we're talking like a 6-month plans here. So just bear with me. It's going to be really weird, and I'll try to just kind of, keep it organized. But I've already got the back. Can you say I got a little bit here already, right? So there's a little bit to work with. I got to grow. It's kind of like a faux hawk kind of thing going on. But I need to grow out the sides and get the long. These are the things you're like, what? Someone who just joined the channel, like, what is he talking about? I'm growing a mullet. That's what I'm saying. I'm growing a mullet. Kerchop. This is a great question. I've never gotten it. My thoughts on Vox Lux. First of all, Vox Lux, the opening sequence of Vox Lux, for someone who had no idea what that film was about, I knew sort of what it was about, but I didn't know for sure until I saw it, and I saw it very early before it was even released. I saw a award screening of it. That opening scene of Vox Lux, the school shooting, is so intense. Like that, the first, whatever that is, 5-10 minutes, whatever the scene is. I mean, it's just the opening scene. Oh my God, like I am so into Vox Lux. At that point, I don't think the film works as well, but I am interested in Natalie Portman's character. I don't think the idea for Vox Lux is there. The execution and the overall impact is not what I think the director wanted it to be. So it's one of those cases where it's a gigantic swing by the director, and it's just not quite of a connection. But there are elements of Vox Lux that I love, like her singing the song at the end is super cool, and the opening scene. So there's things about Vox Lux I love, but it's one of those films that if you ask me, what's a great film that has a very ambitious idea and doesn't quite pull together, I would say Vox Lux is great. Thank you for asking me that, by the way. I've totally forgot about that film, and the fact that you reminded me about it is really cool. Let me re-explain. Batman thought he killed a father. What if Riddler stopped a pedophile? So help me, Mega. Honest to God, I just don't even remember the movie as well. If Matt Reeves is watching, which I doubt, I mean he could be. I mean he knows my name, so there's that. Then maybe he could be. That'd be amazing. At some point, it's like Matt Reeves has entered the chat, and he's like, "Well, here was the idea." That's that's where we're going here with this. By the way, we'll go a little bit longer tonight because I told you I love Sunday night, so we'll go a little bit longer, but not too much longer, just a little bit. What is a 10 movie? Okay, 100%. You guys know. Come on. Here we go. No, Smile's not a 10. A 10 is a film that is quite literally perfect in every single way. So, everybody jump in. You know where I'm going to go with this. The Social Network. The Social Network is a 10. It is a 100 out of 100. It is a perfect film for me because it has every element of the film that is perfection. From direction, start with that. Very clearly, that's my number one thing. Direction is there. So, obviously, with direction, you're going to get great cinematography. You're going to get an incredible score, which you do because the director has picked Resner Ross. And you're also going to get the edits. You're going to get the story because obviously we know who wrote the story. So when you have all of the elements that are there for The Social Network, it's a perfect film. It's a very rare perfect film. Even Drive is a film that I have at a 9.75, and the reason I have it at a -2.5 of a star or a point is because the elevator head smashing scene did not need to happen. Ryan Gosling stomps the goon's head 20 times. The final shot in the pumpkin smashing of the head was too much, and I would actually withdraw. And that's exactly, I love that we got to this point. This brings in all of our threads to get to mesh with what I talked about with Terrifier 2. You have a film in Art the Clown and a character that's just diabolically evil. I mean, he is so great. He's just eerie, creepy, everything you want. And then you have a film that goes too far with the violence. So, Drive, too far with the head smashing. Terrifier 2, way too far. Even though in the service of horror, it's still too far for horror. You need to reel it back. I'm telling you, the number one takeaway from tonight is if I am a studio, I'm going to look up his name because I'm tired of like not knowing what his name is. I should know this because I've watched the film and I've seen Terrifier 1. I should know this by now. So the director of Terrifier 2, y'all yelling at me. It's this guy. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Listen, it's live. Damien Leone. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to Damien Leone, and I'm going to do this. If I am Universal, for sure, because they'll do it. If I'm Sony, I'm doing it. If I'm Warner's, I'm doing it. I am going up to Damien, and I'm saying, I'm going to give you $10 million for Art the Clown. But here's the you have to agree to these points. If I'm going to give you 10 million, you have to give up your character because we're going to take him and we're going to mat him with a director that is going to imprint this creepy ass vibe. And I go back to Gretel and Hansel. If you want to talk about a film with a creepy vibe and just the look and the feel, or give it to Parker Finn. I want to give Art the Clown to Parker Finn. I want to give it to David David Lowery would be cool, but in horror, maybe not. I love David Lowery, but no. What's his name from the Night House? I'll always Bruckner. I'm gonna give it to one of those guys and say, run with this. Let's make an origin story on Art the Clown, and let's bring the violence down a little bit, but you can still go pretty hard. We'll go hard R, but we're not gonna go into the NC-17 thing. But I'm gonna remove Damien from the project. That's what I'm gonna do. And I know that that's like you guys are like going, that's terrible. What are you doing? But I'm just telling you that's how I do it as a studio. And you know what? Those of you who know what I just said would probably say that'd be a really smart move to go buy the character, to buy the rights to Art the Clown and then create it for yourself because it's there. Because look, you have this sensation, you have this $5 million already on a $250,000 budget, and people are talking about Terrifier 2. All right, I got this is 10-minute warning. 10-minute because now all of a sudden I just hit my energy. I've expended so much energy on the show. If you can't tell, Smile's a 10 for me. Fall was a 10 because Immersion on the Tower. It's a little high. Batman's a 10. Batman was a 9.5 for me. Although I don't, I would agree with that. You know how I talk about stratospherically great. Artistically, the movie is really way up there. Oh God, cry little sister. You know what? Screw the copyright. Screw the copyright. Just listen. If we get yanked off, I'm gonna make it short. I have to hear that right now. So don't. I'm just real quickly. Hold on. Let's see how long we can do it before YouTube like says you violated some shit. Here we go. Hold on.
Seeing if you're pre-approved will never hurt your credit score.
I was
With Capital One
actually
pre-approval, you
listening
can
to this
safely and easily
on the way home. That's how much. Hold on, give me a second. Is there a sound? Yeah, sure. Here it is. Okay, here we go. Get ready. This is so good. Okay, here we go. Okay, got it. All right. Can we hear it? Skip ads. Is it playing? I gotta put my headphones on. Give me a second. We're at the end of the show. Who gives a crap? Yeah, I hear it. Okay, good. You guys hear it? Give me a thumbs up if you hear it. So good. Are you kidding me? Like, so good. Can I turn it up or is that as loud as it goes? Oh, look at the smile on my face. I just go like, oh my god, I'm taking back to 1987 right now. It's so good. Where's the YouTube's gonna be like, wait a second, YouTube, you can't do that. Well, we're almost done. I have to just hear a few notes of it because it's okay. The music, there's no words. Oh, no words. Hell yeah. So good. Oh my god, guys, you don't even know. If you have a chance to go see Lost Boys, you need to go this week. It is at AMC. You need to go. So good. I'll leave it in the background. Okay, so we're gonna have to wrap because they're gonna give me a strike. Screw them. I don't care. At this point, I don't care. I find nothing wrong with your hair. Not yet, you don't. Not yet, you don't. Everybody, bring it in. Here we go. So good. All right, I can't. This is it. That's the end of the show. God, it's so good. I love the Lost Boys. Thanks for being here tonight on Midnight Movie Talk. We didn't get a strike. I'm gonna have to eject before we get a strike. So good. We'll do this again sometime when they're like, we'll play a whole song and they'll be like, you're out. All right, MMT's out tonight. Good night. Hell yeah.